let us continue to stand for the ideals for which they lived and died. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Hello and welcome to Justice for Veterans. My name is David Standridge. I'm an attorney. I've been practicing law since 1996. I'm the managing attorney at the Justice Legal Group, where my practice is focused primarily on veterans' disability claims. I am licensed before the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims, and I am recognized by the VA as an attorney practicing in the area of veterans' disability claims. We welcome you to our show today. We hope to accomplish a few things. One, we want to provide information to you regarding different issues affecting veterans. We want to educate veterans about services that are available to them, and we want to provide engaging topics of conversation where you can learn and know what kind of issues our veterans and our veterans community is facing. We are proud to bring you Justice for Veterans. We know that we do this show because we believe that the veterans deserve justice. They serve to protect us, and now it's our turn to protect them. So thank you for joining us today on Justice for Veterans. In this part of our show, Justice for Veterans, we like to discuss issues regarding disability claims and hope to bring some education to some issues regarding veterans' disability benefits. And today I want to talk about what the actual process is. I get emails and phone calls from different people who are making inquiries, not understanding the process. And I like to tell people, I say, you know, you can't really play the game of baseball without knowing the rules of baseball, or you can't play football without knowing the rules of football. It's the same thing when you're dealing with a VA disability claim. You need to know the process. And that process really starts at the regional office. Here, Albuquerque has a regional office, and in the regional office you file your claim, and there is no set time frame, but once your claim is decided, you get notified, and it's either denied or granted in part or granted in full. And then you have 1 year in which you can file a notice of disagreement. When you file that notice of disagreement, it then will be reviewed at a different level. It could be a DRO level, which stands for Decision Review Officer. It could be at the BVA, the Board of Veterans Appeals, or it could be some other process whereby you have your disability claim reviewed on an appellate level. And then after you go to that level, it's to the BVA. Then, if you still aren't satisfied, you can appeal all the way up to the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims, which is the highest court within the VA system, and you have to have a special licensure in order to practice before the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. Now, it's important to understand each of these steps because at each step there are different evidentiary standards, there are different requirements for the rules, there are different requirements for what kind of evidence you could submit. That's why it's important to understand that process. You can contact us at Justice Legal Group at info@justicelegalgroup.com to find out more information about the process and how it might affect you and your disability claim. And now it's time here on Justice for Veterans to give a salute to a veteran and to say thank you for their service to our great nation. We do this portion of our show because we believe it's important to say thank you. We believe that it means something to us as citizens of the United States to say thank you to the brave men and women who served on our behalf. And so today we want to give a salute and say a big thank you to a special service member by the name of George Siler. George served in the Marine Corps, and he was in the infantry, and he served from 1969 until 1970, a very dangerous time in which to serve as an infantryman in the Marine Corps. And as you can guess, George was stationed at Camp Pendleton, and he was also stationed in Vietnam. So George, we want to say thank you for your service to our nation, and we give this salute to you to honor you and to thank you and to let you know that what you did on our behalf means something to us here at Justice for Veterans. If you would like to honor a special veteran and to thank them for their service, then you can contact us. You can contact me, David Standridge, at info at justicelegalgroup.com. Now, when you contact us, give us your name and your email and the information about the veteran that you would like to honor, and we'll make sure to give a special salute to that veteran, to thank them for their service, and to give you a shout out on our show, and making sure that the veteran understands that you are the person to recognize them on our show. So thank you, George, and thank you to all the veterans. Hi, I'm David Standridge from the Justice Legal Group. Our firm represents veterans and helps them obtain benefits in their disability cases before the Veterans Administration. We believe that you worked hard to protect our nation, and we want to work hard to protect you. Welcome back to Justice for Veterans, and we're glad you joined us today. We have a very special guest with us today, a man who I would say is a local hero. We have with us today Shane D'Onofrio, who is running a great organization called Heroes Walk Among Us. We're going to talk to Shane a little bit about his endeavors and what he's doing to serve the veterans community. Shane, thank you very much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Well, I'll tell you what, we want to hear about what you're doing with Heroes Walk Among Us, but before we do, I always want the audience to hear a little bit about who you are and where you came from and your service background.
Okay. I moved to Albuquerque in 1985. I was 13 years old and moved here from Pennsylvania. Decided to go into the military right out of high school. And I went to the United States Navy. And I thought I was going to be a career United States Navy guy. Didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Had a slight accident. Because of that, I've had 8 knee surgeries, back issues,
wow.
Minor facial reconstruction, all because accident. Once I got out of the military, it was kind of like a divorce. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay in the military. That was my goal. I kind of picked my life plan and goal for the rest of my life. That's what I wanted to do, and it didn't work out that way. So I got out of the military, had a couple ups and downs in my life, and then about 5.5 years ago, we started this company called Heroes Walk Among Us. At that time, it was What Would You Give? We've recently changed the name, and the goal is to help all veterans.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'll tell you what, Shane, we'll get into that in just a second. Let me ask you, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but how in the world does someone in New Mexico say they want to make a career out of the Navy?
Well, you know, at that time, right around that time, if I remember correctly, Top Gun had come out.
Okay.
And it was like, you know, big boats, flying airplanes. And I got a good score on my ASVAB, but it wasn't good enough to be a pilot. So I said, what else you got?
Yeah.
So that was pretty.
So you thought you were going to be Tom Cruise?
Absolutely. Wanted to be Tom Cruise. Didn't work out.
That's great. Now, how long were you in the Navy?
For about 4.5 years.
Okay.
Right, about a little over 4.5 years.
All right. And you returned to New Mexico after your stint in the Navy?
I stayed in Washington for a bit, then I came back here for death in the family. I was taking care of my mom here for a couple years. And then I traveled around and kind of figured out, kind of got lost. So what do you do? When you get out of the military, it's kind of nice when you're in there because every morning you get up, you know what you're going to do. You get up in the morning, you know your job, you know what you're supposed to do. When you get out of the military, you're kind of lost in some ways. You don't know, where's my first sergeant? Where's my petty officer? Or telling me what I'm supposed to do or guide me. You kind of got lost. You're so used to being in a regimented environment that everything is laid out. You know where everything is. You kind of get lost. So I kind of got lost there for a little bit.
Sure. Now, you mentioned that Heroes Walk Among Us. It's a corporation?
It's a 501c3 nonprofit. Right. It was started in March 23rd, 2008 is when we started it. So
awesome.
That's a little over.
So as a 501c3, that means when people give you money, they get a tax benefit.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And what prompted you to start? And I know you said it was, what can you give?
The original name was What Would You Give?
Okay.
And we decided to change that because it was too much asking. It kind of seemed like we had our hand out. And the last thing we want to do is have a veteran with their hand out. We want to give them a hand up. We want to give them the tools to go forward and change their lives. And this is kind of some of the litmus tests. How do you know that you're doing that good? How do you know? And one of the things that came to us, and I'll share this with you today, I don't know if this is right.
Yes.
We've helped a guy out for about 1.5 years now. And he's had some issues, and he's worked with our staff, which is all volunteer. And today he came in, and this is incredible. Today he came in and he said he wanted to give me something. He gave me, I don't know if you want to look at that. He gave that to me. So in the military, people have coins, and everybody gets a coin. Well, he wanted to say thank you for all the work we've done with him. And he gave us that coin. That's Dwight D. Eisenhower, general at the time. So that's like one of the first coins that really, I'm not saying it's the first, but that it's pretty impressive that when you help somebody and you change their lives, that's been in his family forever. And his father, I guess grandfather, met and was given that by him. And for him to actually hand that to me and say, it's incredible. You've changed that person's life. You've been able to do something and give back. So I know we're doing the right things.
Absolutely. On the back it says 1942 to 1945. Yep. That's awesome. That's a real testimony as to what you're doing. So I'll give that back to you. Let's talk about what Heroes Walk Among Us. What you do. What's your mission? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, we're trying to help our veterans. A lot of people don't realize that about 99% of the veterans that come out of the military, they're not wounded. They're not wounded, and I mean wounded by an enemy combatant. So they don't qualify for the Wounded Warrior Project. They're actual veterans who have had anything from training accidents like myself, or they've been in the Army and they've run too much and their knees are shot. These guys still sign their name on that dotted line. They sign their name on that dotted line, up to including their life for this country. And when they're coming back, whether it's from Vietnam, Desert Storm, the Gulf Wars, Iraq, they're not getting their benefits that they're owed as fast as they need it. And we feel that that's wrong. We feel that that is absolutely wrong, and we need to be able to make a difference. So we try to fill the gap, and we have several different ways we do that. Right now we have 5 veterans living on our property that we have taken off the street or prevented from going onto the street, and have found them jobs. We've gotten them back to school. We've got 3 guys going to school right now at CNM full time. We've got a guy who works full time. We've gotten several other our veterans, even our young guys coming back. We have two young guys. One is 21 years old. He was blown up in West Pakit, Afghanistan. Had 50-some pieces of shrapnel in his body. He still has 20 to this day. He came home. He's 21 now. He's like, what do I do with the rest of my life?
Wow.
Well, we sat down with him. We brought some of our volunteer staff in and said, let's get a game plan. Let's figure it out. Now, some people are going to laugh. He wanted to work with animals. Now, this is a young man that was at the tip of the spear. Now he works for PetSmart. It's what he wanted to do, and that's what helps him relax and get through some of his issues. He has a job. He's providing for his wife. These are the things that we need to provide for our young men and women coming home, and we're not. They're not getting the jobs that they need. They're not getting the benefits. They don't have education opportunities without going through all this paperwork. Why are we doing that to our young men and women? Why are they not able to be put at the head of the line, jump forward to where everything's taken care of for them? Why is the question I ask all the time. And we talked to some of the different congressmen and congresswomen, and a lot of them want to help. And it's, how do you help? What do you do? Well, our goal is to go out and work with all the businesses. We've got about 30 businesses, and it's growing, that we can actually call the Human Resources Department and say, hey, we've got a young man, young woman that has now come back. No, they're not trained. They don't know a lot about taking care of pets. However, they're from the military. They're able to say, yes, sir, no, sir. They have the best customer service that you'll ever see. Let's give them a chance. Let's give them that opportunity. Let's give them the opportunity that they deserve. And I think they're owed.
Wow. So you're basically helping veterans reintegrate into life.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And we don't do it with just us. We take our Vietnam veterans, our Korean War veterans, and we bring them into the picture. These are the men and women that have gone through 10 times worse than our young guys today. But we can learn from their mistakes. We have one gentleman named Tom Tao, Purple Heart recipient. He's 6'4", big, huge guy. His life story is amazing. When he got out of Vietnam, they spit on him, they treated him like garbage. Did everything horrible to him. But now that man right there is able to come back and spend time with a young man, getting out of the military, and say, look, don't do my mistakes. Don't go through everything that I went through. Take the help. Don't look at it as a handout. Work with these guys. Move your life forward and don't make my mistakes. So when we're able to take the Marty Cantus, the Tom Towels, who have been through it, Pete Comstock, and be able to work with these guys and have them work with the young guys to move them forward, it's kind of a mentorship program without the mentorship. Sure. Like all the red tape. They're able to become friends first and then move forward. And we try to do things outside the box.
That's great. That's great. Now you mentioned something. My practice is primarily focused on helping veterans get disability benefits.
Yes.
And you mentioned something because I see this quite frequently. The easy cases for getting disability are those who were injured in combat.
Absolutely.
Those are easy.
That's easy.
But as you mentioned, the guy who was in the Army who ran 10 miles and now has knee problems, or people who didn't get in combat but who still have service-connected injuries, those are more challenging. Why do you think we as a society, well, let me ask you, do you think we as a society view those kind of veterans differently from those who may have combat-related issues?
Absolutely, 100% without a doubt.
And why do you think that is?
A lot of it is marketing. There's some great marketing companies out there that show, a guy that is missing an arm. We have a guy that comes out all the time who does not have an arm. We have guys in wheelchairs that come out. Marketing. When you see a guy who has a physical disability, oh my God, everything stops. But when you see a guy and you're sitting down with him, and he might have a TBI, traumatic brain injury. Mm-hmm. He might have PTSD. He might need a service dog, go through horse therapy, or any of these things that we provide. He doesn't look like a disabled veteran. Do I? Most people look at me and they say, he doesn't look like a disabled veteran. But I've got, a knee issues, and I got a huge bump on my knee that's calcium buildup, and it's growing and growing. Having 8 knee surgeries, I look normal. But you don't know that. Well, most veterans, one, don't want a handout. So if they are hurt, they're not going to say it. There's been numerous veterans I've had to say, hey, go to the doctor, go to the VA. I don't want to go there. Go somewhere else. You're hurt. Get fixed. It's kind of a pride thing. So they look normal, but they're really not.
Yeah, that's a good point. You raise a good point. So, a veteran who's watching the show and says, you know what, I want to get hooked up with Shane. I need some help. I need some life help. What kind of services can Heroes Walk Among Us, what kind of services can you provide to those veterans?
So what I usually tell everybody is we can provide you anything you need. And people look at me like, really? And it's not us doing it. We farm 90% of it out. We don't do our service dogs. We use Assistant Dogs of the West up in Santa Fe. They're the only ADI certified service dog company in the state. They're absolutely phenomenal. We use a horse therapy company. They're all licensed. They have all that. I'm not a horse therapist. I don't want to be.
Sure.
Okay. We work with different, trying to go through all of our stuff.
Sure.
We have housing projects. So yes, we do have room for 10 people. We have 5 right now. Social Security claims. We use a local company who does Social Security claims. We might be talking to you soon. For legal assistance, we have several different attorneys that have stepped up and said, hey, these guys need help. What can we do pro bono? Well, we take the cases, we sit down, talk to them, we go in and talk to the attorney and say, hey, here's the deal, can you help us? And they'll say yes or no. Veteran benefits claims. We're in the process, we've processed over 100 of them, we've gotten 25 awarded, and we use the DAV right now, but we are looking at other avenues. Voc rehab program, getting our guys back to school and getting them jobs. That's very important. One, getting back to school. We had a gentleman who's a Purple Heart recipient, and I won't tell you his name because he'll get mad at me. Came out of Afghanistan, got back here, spent a year working with a large company out here, decided that he wanted to go back to school, and they decided to let him go. He didn't have a job. Well, he went in and did his GI Bill paperwork. Somebody somewhere made a mistake. Ended up not receiving his GI Bill money. So he ended up on the streets. lost his apartment, spent 3 months living on the streets.
Wow.
Went to another organization, asked for help, and they said, well, at this point in time, it's a Monday during the week. You're going to have to come back not this Thursday or Wednesday, the following Thursday for an appointment to sit down and see if we can get you into this program. Now you have a Purple Heart recipient who has a through and through, trying to go to school. They messed his paperwork up. He's homeless, living on the streets, and somebody stole all of his belongings except for his laptop that was under his head and the clothes on his back. We get a phone call. I go down and meet him, and we tell him, hey, we're going to do a background check. I need to know who you are. Said, no problem. Within 2 weeks, we had all of his paperwork straightened out, GI Bill. 2 weeks, blew my mind. We worked with the DAV. We got all of his paperwork. We did a fully developed claim, I guess is what it's called. Got that totally done. Within 2 months, got all of his paperwork, everything done. He got all of his back pay, everything done. DAV was awesome.
Wow.
We did everything for this young man, and now he lives on one of our other properties.
That's great.
He is now taking back his life. He's going to school, 4.0. Last time it said it was 3.8, but it's 4.0.
Good.
We're able to give these guys the tools that they need, and we do kind of more of a family environment. I think that's a key, bringing the family in. That's making them feel like brothers.
That's a great success story. And I notice here on your literature, you mentioned housing, Social Security claims, legal assistance, burial assistance, rehab programs, supplies, food, vet services, computers, dogs, horse therapy. A lot of services that you all provide. So let me ask you this question. Okay?
Yes, sir.
A vet's listening and they say, I need help. What do they do?
First, they can give us a call. Phone number is 505-217-2230. That's our office number. If you're a vet in need of help in the crisis area, you can call my cell phone. I'm one of the only people that'll put his cell phone out on the air, and I don't mind it.
Well, what is it?
505-401-9879. You can call me day or night, and if I can't come to get you or talk to you, I have somebody who will.
That's awesome.
And that's a guarantee. We will come out.
So those are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
We do our best, absolutely. We are, a small volunteer group right now, so we try to get there within as soon as possible.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And so a veteran contacts you and says, I need help with rehab or finding a job. What's your process? What do they have to go through?
First thing we have to do is we have to find out that you are a veteran. And today's day and age, there are people who do lie. So we ask for your DD-214. We want to see a copy of it. If you're a disabled veteran, you can qualify for other things too. So we ask to see something from the VA stating that you're a disabled veteran. We take those two, we verify them. We have our ways of doing that. And then at that point in time, we'll sit down with you and we'll go through whatever you need. If you need housing, you need food. And the food we just give out, really. We do food and hygiene kits, groceries. Just 3 days ago, we had a guy that we know that's a veteran who needed food and he hasn't been paid. Something got screwed up in his paperwork. We went and bought him, his wife, his daughter, and his grandson, everything from diapers to just staples. We spent about $300 just going and buying them groceries. So our process is really easy. We just need to prove that you are who you say you are. And once you do that, we don't do all this stuff. We have people that work with us. So it's not always us. Again, like with the horses and dogs. And we have one company out of Colorado. It's called Wiggies. We love Wiggies. Just the name is awesome. Wiggies. And they send down all their sleeping bags. So they do handmade sleeping bags. They send us all their sleeping bags that have like a tear or a missed stitch and they can't sew them. They send us throughout the year all their sleeping bags. So at wintertime, we hand out sleeping bags to the homeless. Food and hygiene kits and things like that. To me, that's really, really important to get those out there. And it doesn't matter if you're a veteran or not. We try to do that.
Sure. Now we're starting to run out of time,
Yes,
but
sir.
I have a few things I need to get from
Absolutely.
you. I want to know, what's the source of your funding?
It's all private.
All private donations?
Absolutely. We use private donations and my VA disability check. So I give back my VA disability check, a huge portion of it right now. About $1,500 of it every month goes right to make sure this place runs. And then as the veterans, we get them their benefits and things, they do pay a small rental fee. It's very cheap for where they're at, but everything is safe, and all that money goes to turn the lights on. So I don't make a penny off of it. Nobody in our organization makes a dollar, not one penny. They've never made a penny, and they won't until we get big funding.
Now, so if viewers are watching and they're moved and they're saying, I want to give money to your organization, how do they do it?
Okay, so right now, again, we're in the process of changing the name. Our old website, which is still active, it's whatwouldYouGive.org. So you can spell it out, whatwouldYouGive.org, and you can go on there and contact us, find out anything you want about us, and there's a donation page on there. You can donate there. Or you can actually mail it to us. Again, you can go to our website and find our address. It's real easy, 1720 Coulter Street Northeast, Rio Rancho, New Mexico, 87144. And we're legally allowed to say that too.
That's awesome. That's great. I'll tell you, you are certainly putting your actions where your words are at. I mean, you're living it out, and I thank you. I thank you. I mean, our veterans community needs people like you helping them, and so thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you. It's an honor to serve my brothers and sisters. It truly is.
And I can tell your heart is there. You're not just saying it. Your heart's
come on out. If anybody wants to come and see, please do. Our phones are always on. Please come out, see our place, see what we do, and see who we are. We're glad to have you.
I'll tell you, Shane, thank you so much for being with us. We want to say thank you again to our special guest, Shane
D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio. I told him I was going to butcher his name, and I did. But thank you so much to Shane for being with us today. And again, if you'd like to reach him, let me quickly give you his phone number one more time, 217-2230. That's area code 505. And his cell phone, his personal cell phone that he doesn't give out, that he does give out, but most organizations don't, is 401-9879. So thank you to our special guest, Shane. If you would like to appear on Justice with Veterans or would like some information about services that are provided by some of our guests, just get in touch with us. You can reach us at info@justicelegalgroup.com. And if you have ideas for future shows, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear your comments and suggestions about our guests in future episodes that are coming up. So thank you again for joining us today. We're excited to be able to be here and present this information regarding such important services for our veterans and our veterans community. And as we say goodbye, we just want to say thank you to all the brave men and women who have served our nation and who've done so bravely. We want to say thank you. We know that we could not be here and do what we're doing without the service and the sacrifice you've given to us and what your family has also given. So thank you very much for your service to our nation. And we say God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you for watching Justice for Veterans. A special thanks to the Ronald Reagan Foundation, the Justice Legal Group, and the veterans who have made this show possible. Tune in next week for a new episode of Justice for Veterans.